It's around 2 a.m. in the morning and I've come into my doll room to just spend a bit of time. Haven't had the chance lately to really spend quality time in here, so I've come in here to film some of my favourite dolls to share with you. And of course, my personal collection ranges from pretty much antique to modern. I'm into anything and everything basically, but these days it's mostly antique dolls. Tin Head My Nervas from America. And of course, if anyone picks up anything from any of these dolls by watching this video, definitely please comment, because I would absolutely love to know what you think, what you're picking up on, perhaps names that you're getting. This doll that I made myself, made her about, maybe 6 years ago. The K2 meter's just gone off in front of her actually, and my phone is in flight mode, by the way. So perhaps this is the doll we should be communicating with tonight. It's quite intriguing actually, because she's an antique reproduction, of course. She's a Daisy Elmira doll from the late 1800s, and her hair's a bit messy, excuse the mess of her hair, but originally the eyes were blue when I purchased the eyes, but now they've kind of gone like a purple colour, which is kind of strange. Okay, 2 meters stopped. And it's going again. Wow, it's peeking out to red. So obviously someone's letting me know they're here. So the dress that I made as well was, that's a reproduction of the original dress that this particular doll would have had. Anyway, I'll get back to showing you some more of my dolls, but it's quite intriguing that this K2 mid is going off, because I certainly made sure that my phone was in flight mode before filming. And it stopped again. Here's a gorgeous antique doll that my friend Kelly bought me many years ago for my birthday, and she's absolutely beautiful. She's in original clothing as well, original Victorian clothing. And this little guy here as well, he's probably around about between 1910 to 1920. Original clothing once again. And an antique doll as a nun. This one's very awesome. I love her. She's probably one of my favorites. I'll just show you part of my pedigree collection. This little guy peeking behind the shoulder. He's quite a cutie, but he needs a bit of fixing. Just heard the K2 going off again. If someone's here, could you please make it go up to red again for me? The device on the floor with the lights that flash. And I'll tell you a little story about this old cot that these dolls are stored in. So many years ago, when I was about 22 years old, there used to be an antique shop in Uganda, and I really wanted this old cot. It's definitely a Victorian cot. So I bought it and brought it home. That was in a different house back in the day, but when we moved and placed it here, I've got a friend who is extremely, I don't like using the word psychic, but she's definitely in tune. And when we moved house, and when she first came here, she didn't know that I had my doll room at the end of the hallway and at the back of the house. This room is separate. It's right down the back of a long hallway. And she was walking down the hallway and went right to the end, touched the wall, and she said, "I'm just feeling energy coming from beyond this wall." And she wasn't quite comfortable with it. And she was mentioning something about a child that had passed, an infant, and in like a crib. And then I took her into this room and showed her this section where this old antique cot is, and she just completely freaked out, and she said, "Yes, the spirit that I'm picking up on is attached to this." And that leads me on to something else that I actually want to talk about and show you. On the other side of this wall is the end of the hallway, and there's actually tiny little fingerprints on the wall, which basically no children have been to the end of the hallway to touch the wall. And certainly you would definitely need dirty fingers, like touching soot or dirt or something, and they're up quite high for younger children to reach, but they definitely look like tiny little fingers that have made these marks. So I'm going to quickly show that to you now, and let me know what you think. So this is the end of the hallway that I was talking about. And as we get closer, these have been here for around a year now, and I've been wanting to paint, but I didn't want to paint until I actually took a photo or captured it on video, because it's really quite bizarre. But these are quite high up, and they look like fingerprints, like basically, I don't know, little scrapings, if you like, of hands that have maybe done this sort of thing, like gone down, scratching onto the wall. It's really quite bizarre, and no children have done this. You know, there's no reason to touch the wall down here, and it's all in the one spot, and this is literally the same spot that my friend was picking up on, saying there's something in the wall or beyond the wall. She seemed to think it was inside of the wall, and then I showed her the room behind this section, and that's when she just felt the energy extremely strong. But it certainly is very strange. But getting back to my dolls now, these are pretty much some of my favorites, really. This one's Sammy. His expression changes from time to time. We've captured certain photographs where his sort of almost features slightly change. And the first night he came into the house, little voices were heard which sounded like quite a young child. Just heard a noise behind me. And I hear the K2 meter going off again. Excuse the mess. The Mel meter's going off. It's actually sent shivers down my spine. It's completely going off. And stopped. Now the K2 meter's going off. If someone's in here, can you please make it go up to the highest color you can? This device in front of me, in front of the doll in the white dress. Thank you. Could you please do that again? And it's completely stopped. I know someone's commented recently about how they think the Ghost Hunting Tools app doesn't seem to work. They seem to think it's I don't know, fake or whatever. I think it's good to sort of sit on the fence and sort of have an open mind, because basically I don't think there's anything to completely disprove or, to say it's fake, to say it's definitely real. But personally, with my experiences, I feel that it works. It works for me. I also have a friend who he's done a lot of work with demons. He does exorcisms, and he uses ghost hunting tools, and he swears by it as well. So that person recommended to use K2 meters and other certain devices, and I said, well, yeah, we do have those, but I personally just like using the app and going with what I feel personally with my intuitive. Well, it's really peeking out now. And just to re-mention that my phone is definitely in flight mode. So for anyone out there who may not know too much about paranormal equipment, basically it's best to put your phone in flight mode, because if your phone's not in flight mode, it's going to interact with the equipment and your lights might be going off like it is now, and you'll think, oh wow, there's something here, but it's more than likely your phone, like the Wi-Fi or data or whatever you're using. But this is completely peaking out. So things are definitely starting to happen in here, which isn't unusual because so many things happen in my house pretty much every night. Mostly nighttime, daytime as well, yeah, but it's more often than not it's nighttime, especially when this door to this room is left open. This is Eloise May, and she came from one of our favourite places in Tasmania, New Norfolk. And I got her around about 3 years ago now, when Dark Mofo's on every year, and I generally like to go to Dark Mofo in Hobart, and she's rather haunted, this one. She also came from New Norfolk. This little one, she was upstairs in the North Kapunda Hotel, and she has an attachment to a little girl called Sarah. And this doll was up there for around about a year, and I've had a lot of activity around this doll when she came back to my house. Often a little girl's voice was heard, and often little sort of footsteps, like what we have experienced there in the past, but it sounds like a child running. This one is Miranda, and she has been at the old Hyacoma Hotel for about 6 months now, and I actually brought her home this week, and the first day she came back I started getting a headache, needed one of my migraine tablets. Took it the next day, I felt like I had another headache come on, and then 2 days later another headache. So I took 3 migraine tablets in a week, and that was all since she came back into the house. So all thanks to her. So as I mentioned earlier, definitely comment if you're picking up anything on any of these dolls. A name, a year, date. Hear the K2 meter going off again. So these 2 dolls here, I'll leave them for another time because there's a long story drawn to both of these dolls. And the one in the box is something a little different. I'm noticing there's some lights actually on the screen now, which I haven't seen yet. This doll is in a box for a reason, and it's not a nice entity. It's really quite horrible, actually. But like I said, that's for another time. But I'll just show you him. And this one also. What do you think about this one? I'm not going to say anything about this one, but it's a bit of a mystery. And this one, she'll be a story for another time as well. So I'm going to head off to bed now, and I will be leaving my door open to my doll room. And generally, when I leave the door open, that's when most things happen. And basically, I'll let you know what happens next time. So if anything happens, I'll be sure to let you know. Good night.